Well, let me tell you an Irish story today about a magical traveling woman who comes to town and sees things that no one else can see and helps to bring about a solution that once seemed impossible. Welcome, my friend. I'm glad you're here. My name is Kate. This channel sits at the intersection between creative practice, creativity, and Irish folklore and tradition. Like many of you, I am a multi-passionate creator, a lifelong creator, and I'm also a professor of Irish language and folklore. And I think that bringing these two worlds together is really fruitful and exciting. Well, let me tell you the story. And just to say before I begin that I learned this story from the great storyteller Sean O'Connell from Kilreally, Iveragh, County Kerry. And this is what Sean tells us. Once long ago, a young man married a lovely young woman, and everyone was very happy. Everyone, that is, except for the young man's mother, who took against the young woman and brought a lot of strife into the house. And you know it's terrible when there's arguments and conflict in the house. That went on for a while, and eventually it was decided that the mother-in-law had better move out into a place of her own. Well, that was not easy, and the young woman was in some difficulty around it, but even more difficulty because a full year went by and she had no baby. She looked around at all of her friends who had married at the same time, and they already had babies. No baby for her. A second year went by and she had no baby. Toward the end of the third year, she was really suffering. She was sort of in a strange between place of not having a baby and having a baby. It was a very strange, she was sick and suffering much of the time. Well, one evening, between the light and the dark time, a strange woman came to the door and asked could she come in and sit by the fire. And she was an Ulsterwoman, a woman from the north of Ireland, and people in the old days loved to see these women coming. And of course the young woman said, yes, fáilte isteach, welcome in, come and sit with me. And so the Ulsterwoman began to ask the young woman about her life. And the young woman told her about the conflict with her mother-in-law, and she also told her about her terrible grief about not having a baby of her own. The Ulsterwoman listened and listened, asked her questions and spoke with her through the evening, and nodded and listened. Well, nighttime came and she was given a place to sleep by the fire, and everyone went to sleep. In the morning when the young woman woke up, the Ulsterwoman was gone. She puzzled over that and hoped she was well on the roads. But the Ulsterwoman had just gone down the road a little bit to the home of the mother-in-law. And she asked the mother-in-law could she come in and warm herself by the fire. The day was cold. And the mother-in-law said, yes, you can come in with me. And she sat in, and the mother-in-law said, where did you spend the night last night? And she said, oh, just up the road with a very nice young couple, nice young man and woman. Ah, said the mother-in-law, she knew right away who that was. She said, have they any news up in that house? And the Ulsterwoman looked at her keenly and she said, well, they have good news. A fine young baby boy was born to them just last night. Ach, said the mother-in-law with some disgust. And she reached up the chimney and she pulled out a strange looking kind of bundle. It was a sort of twisted bundle of rags and thread and little bits of bone and cord all knotted together. And the mother-in-law threw it into the fire and she said, well, my spells are no good to me now. And just as that bundle burst into flame, they heard the unmistakable sound of a baby crying its first cry just up the road. And when the Ulsterwoman stopped in to leave a blessing on the child, she saw he was a very handsome little boy and that he even had some of his own teeth. That's quite a story, isn't it? Now, just to say that people in the west of Ireland, where this story was told by Sean O'Connell, County Kerry, in Connacht, believed that the Ulster, well, Munster Connacht, believed that magic came from someone from the north of Ireland, the Ulsterwoman. So the Ulsterwoman, known as the bringer of relief and the solver of problems. You know, it really strikes me that we have two kinds of magic in this tale. We have the magic of begrudgery, and we have the magic of generosity. We have magic that binds things up, and we have magic that frees things up, right? We get to decide what kind of magic we are bringing into this world. And I think it's really wonderful that really the way that the magic happens, the Ulsterwoman's magic, is in paying attention. It's in asking for the story and listening well. This is something we all can do. So I want to read you a little poem I wrote based on this legend and many others. It's called The Ulsterwoman. The Ulsterwoman came on a secret horse, which grazed invisible oats and left no print. She wrapped her head up like a parcel, but her chest and feet were bare as udders. At the wallop of crisis, or the screech of fierce need, she assembled on the door jamb herself and her kishan of herbs, herself and her travellers knowing, herself and the ghosts who taught her the butter and the baby and the wool. Kishan just means a basket, little basket of herbs. That knowing, that sense of being the one to come and look, that to me is a creator. That's us, my friends. That is us. We can come and pay attention, and through language, through conversation, through what we make later and share, we too can work the magic of the Ulsterwoman and help. So I want to just leave you with that. Two ideas. One, ask for the story. Ask the questions. See how we can be of service. And two, once you have the story, make something of it. I love to make poems or songs of stories. I would love to hear what you would like to make of this story. Make it again, make a new version of it, play with it, and go out into the world with your magic and help bring the good magic to the people you meet everywhere. I hope that's helpful to you. It's a great story. See what you want to do with it. Thank you for listening. Please, as ever, subscribe. Would love to have you here in this little community. Please like the video. That really does help me. Maybe share it with someone. In any case, I'm so glad to be with you, and I hope that you have a wonderful week and maybe even a magical one. Take care, my friends.